Everyone wants to become a content creator.
A creator, in their mind, they are not as professional as, for example, me, the person who went and trained and studied this field. They gain in sharing sensationalized or inaccurate information. This is a way that keeps them afloat and relevant and even brings in money to them.
A political organization is going to see you and they are like, wow,
push this agenda.
If we were to start sharing information, speaking, how would you then deal with it?
I think what I will do first, it is discern what the information is about, what they want me to put out there. Am I speaking facts, or is it the disinformation that I'm going to put out there to my audience?
Hi top VIPs, welcome to another episode of the Truth Sessions with VIPs, and today we are going to be talking about how information comes from the source to the screen. It sounds like a short journey, but joining me is Edgar Mathew, a journalist at NBS, and he really understands the game of how information comes from the source to the screens because of the newsrooms that he has been to. You're welcome to the podcast, Edgar.
Thank you, Comfort. I'm honored to be a top VIP. I didn't know that I was that. But by the fact that you have me here, it's a privilege and an honor to be with you. Thank you so much for the invite. And hi to our viewers.
Thank you. We have also been joined by incredible young minds, and I would like them to introduce themselves.
Thanks for having us on the top VIP. I'm Mbabazi, a student at MOBS, pursuing procurement and supply chain management.
Hello, top VIPs. My name is Terisha. Amumpaire, a third-year student at Macquarie University Business School, pursuing a Bachelor's of International Business and serving as the 28th Minister of Gender, and as well as the Prime Minister of the National Youth Parliament. Thank you.
So, Edgar,
yes,
you have been to so many newsrooms, and I definitely know that you know how information comes from the source and how it is prepared to get to the screens. So, what really happens there?
Okay. Thank you. Many is an overstatement, a couple of newsrooms, but of course we've learned a couple of things that we can share with the public. So there's no one way that you can say this is how we get information, but it's different ways. So for example, let's start with the tip-off. So Comfort, you are at home or you're in your locality, then you see something that you think is newsworthy, what we call a story in the newsroom. For example, let's use the basic of them all. There's an accident that has happened. There's a fire that is burning. Maybe there's an injustice, maybe a demonstration that is happening. So we always have different people that are among the community. Some are well-wishers, some are correspondents, some are informants that will give you a tip-off and tell you, hey, this is happening here. I think this should be newsworthy. And then we look into it, and then we can send our manpower. So you can go, for example, they will send me as a reporter to go on ground. And what you're going to go on ground is to ascertain what these people are telling you. Is it accurate? Is it not accurate? Is it what they are saying, or is it exaggerated? So you touch base on ground to understand what happened there, to understand the context, to understand the different people involved. And then we can file the story to our command center. Then there's also another way. With the evolution of social media and technology, we now pick stories from the mainstream media, the media, social media. So someone has posted something on TikTok, we look at it and we say, hey, maybe there is a semblance of a story here. We need to look through it. And that we do the same process. Go to the field, ascertain if this is true. Is it an overstatement? Is there evidence to back it up? Keyword, is there evidence? It can be people, it can be images, it can be footage to confirm that story. Then maybe one other way, maybe last because of time, we also can sit through, because you're a journalist, you have been reporting for a while. You can sit through to say, there should be a story here. For example, they can bring out a report, government performance report, Auditor General's report for the year or for that financial calendar. Then you look at it, you start to check through. Who has, for example, taken this money? Did it actually do its job? The Auditor General is saying there's some money, for example, in the Ministry of Finance that may have not been utilized or underutilized or overutilized. So we look through that, and then I say, hey, there is a story here. So that would be my pitch. And I'll talk to my editor, tell him I think there's something fishy about the Auditor General's report in this angle and this angle. Can we look for example, the respective ministry? Can we look for the technocrat in that ministry? Do they have evidence to confirm that this money was spent in this way? And after that, we compile, we talk to the person involved in the story, the denominator. If it's an individual, we shall talk about them. If it's an institution, we shall reach out to them to hear their side of the story. Then we can reach out to analysts, people who understand the situation. If it's about business, I'll look, for example, for Julius Kapwepwe, who I know this person is a budget expert or advisor. Then if it's politics, I'll look for a political analyst, and then I'll come up with a story that we shall give you.
So interesting. So you have really focused so much on what you really pick, but what does it take for you to say that this information is not newsworthy?
Okay. So fundamentals of journalism. Let me go to journalism class 101. What makes news? Because that's the thing we always ask ourselves. So what makes news is, for example, proximity. If something is close to you, it will make news. So if I have a story in Kampala and I'm in Uganda, the people in Uganda want something that is news. Then there's something we call bizarre, right? So it's an unusual happening. If it's an unusual, that means, is there an important person that has maybe been assassinated, maybe by gunshots? Because we used to use the adage that if a dog bites a human being, that's not a story. But if a human being bites the dog, that becomes the story. So we look at the nature of the story. Then we look at prominence. How prominent is this thing? Is it an individual? Is it an institution? Something that is not that prominent may not make news. But if something is prominent, that makes news. Then we also look at the impact of the information that has been shared. If the people consume this information the way it is, or the information, the impact of what has happened, is it affecting a whole lot of people? Is it affecting a certain individual? So if we feel like it's affecting a group, for example, someone has said they found a cure for cancer today, I will go file that story, I'll run so fast, because cancer is one of the biggest challenges that is affecting our people. So I look at that, the nature and the impact. So if someone is saying they have a new curative method of medicine, I'll go to look for it, because this is going to make news. It's going to be groundbreaking, right? But if it's something that is not that impactful, we may cease to air it. Yeah, those are just a few of what we call the editorial policies.
Right. So I hope you have also seen the rise of creators these days. And because of that rise, everyone is really trying to put out whatever content they come up with. And from your point of view, what do you think are some of the responsibilities that a creator who just wants likes, we are in elections, they want to jump on that algorithm, what do you think are some of the responsibilities they have to really focus on before they start contributing their news or any updates?
Thank you. Before that, I don't feel they even want to hear that. That's the first thing. And I want us to understand this. A creator, in their mind, they are not as professional as, for example, me, the person who went and trained and studied this field. What they want is prominence. They want views. They want likes. They want gigs. Because when you're a big creator, a big influencer, you're going to make money. Right? Many brands are going to come to you. They're not coming to you because maybe of the nature of work you're saying. Fundamentally, they're coming to you because of the numbers you have. And how did you get those numbers you have? Most of them have got the numbers from sensationalized news, from sharing such news. Because let me tell you, Comfort, people like to hear the bad. People do not want to hear the good things. Sometimes they say they don't sell, right? So they want conflict will always bring clout to them.
Yeah.
So before you even give them this advice, I want you and our viewer to understand that they gain in sharing sensationalized or inaccurate information. This is a way that keeps them afloat and relevant and even brings in money to them. So as we are giving them this advice we're giving them, let's understand their place of thought. But what should they do if I were to advise them? Just first ascertain the facts, right? You want to break the story, but first understand, I'm breaking this story and I'm saying this information. How is it going to impact? There are cases in the past where people have shared inaccurate information that has led to death, that has led to chaos, that has led to violence, right? Because people these days want to believe the TikToker rather than believing the news story itself. They feel, and why does that happen? Before I even conclude, it happens because it's fertile ground. That's what they want to hear also. So you have a populace that, for example, in politics, it's politically charged, and most of them, the information you're giving them is what they want to hear, the false information. They want to hear that this has happened to our, for example, if I don't like one candidate, I want to hear this candidate has an accident, this candidate has been arrested, this candidate has been beaten, he's dead, right? It feeds their conscience and what they want. So that subconscious of theirs is on either side, the person publicizing, but also the person receiving the information. But if you're going to publish any information, you've got to understand the context. And that's why the journalists come in. For us, we're not going to just air anything that Comfort has given us. Comfort has given me a tip-off that, yes, there is, for example, a riot that is happening in Kampala City Square. My job as a journalist is to go down on ground, look for the information, get the evidence, get the people who are demonstrating. What are they demonstrating for? How are they demonstrating? Are they carrying placards? Talk about these things. Then after, even ask the police, what are you doing about this? Do you know about, balance the entire story. A TikToker is not going to get that. The TikToker just wants to get that image or that video of someone throwing the stone and they say this has broken out or this is happening. So first of all, go ascertain the facts. And these days you can ascertain the facts even at the comfort of your home. You don't need to come to field. There are some technologies that have come up. There are tools that will help you identify a false image, that will help you identify where the image was taken from, the position of the sun. You can ascertain the facts. So ascertain the facts. The second of all, and which is the most difficult thing, also ask the other side. You are talking about one side, but we need to understand the other person's side, because people do things when they have interests, they have targets, they're targeting you, they're targeting maybe your reputation, your brand, your political affiliation. They have interests. Recently, in the last election of 2021, we had a lot of bots that were removed or switched off from Facebook and even X. These bots were purporting a certain narrative. They were pushing a certain agenda, undermining debate. Like you would think it's Comfort and me and Charlotte who are conversing, yet Charlotte is a bot, right? I'm the only human. This is also another bot account. That means there was a legend seated with a couple of phones, like 100, and he's seated pushing a certain agenda. So for you are thinking, man, this political party has a lot of support. Yet zero on ground. And I think the president had to switch off Facebook, stemming from that particular story, that some of his people were being abused, right? But these, according to the BBC investigation, were bots. They were pushing a certain narrative. So it is very pertinent for you as a creator to ask the side of the story. If you can't ask, because you may not be able to, or for example, to contact Kitu Marusoke, the spokesperson of Uganda Police, at least mention it in your blog. You call it blogs, right? You mention it that, hey, we're waiting for the police to tell us. We've not asked the police. We've not got the side of the police. Give that. And then I think it's not about really the clout. In my perspective, because for me I'm a professional at what I'm doing, it's not about the numbers, but it's about the impact of the information you have given us. There are many people that are listening to you, and creators should know, with those numbers comes people who believe in you blindly. So you may say something and it's going to instigate the other person to do something that is radical, extreme in nature, right? So it's very imperative that you do not just publish any kind of information. Please sieve it. But for example, it's also, you can, in sieving, you can also understand what to ask. You can even say something, but how you say it is very important. For example, if I say comfort, you are inaccurate, and if I say comfort, you are wrong, the wrong feels attacking, inaccurate feels a bit okay, right?
So you are
Choice
saying
of
that
words.
you are saying that as we really try to work on the way we source information or fight disinformation, we use kindness.
No, not kindness, but the choice of words really matter. The choice of words, because words are like seeds. The things you say, you might say the same thing as me, but how I've said it and how you've said it becomes a completely different way. And with a person who may have, let me use the word, who may not be that, people who think a lot, they may feel like you've attacked them in just the way you have spoken. That's the case that Semakade is going through, the head of the Uganda Law Society. It's not in the message itself, but it's in how you package the message. So creators, research, package your information in a way that is going to be receptive to all and balancing your own story. And I think we can start from there. For starters, because there we also have to look at them. They want the numbers, but if you can add in these things in the numbers, then we can find a win-win situation.
Thank you so much for that submission. Like we have been joined by a group of young Gen Zs. I would like them to...
I even host the Gen Z agenda, by the way, on
Oh.
NBS TV. You can watch it at on Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m.
All
in the
right.
evening.
He will,
Akoka langu.
he will pay for it later.
Yeah.
So would like to hear from them their understanding of how information really comes from the source to the screens, because these days Gen Zs really are so much focused on phone and they only receive what has really been packaged. So I would like to hear from them what they think about this topic and to ask any questions if they have. Starting with you, Hannah.
Okay, thank you. Like you've shared, I believe media plays a very big role in society, especially in shaping how society looks, but also in shaping the minds of people. And because you release stories and people feed on these stories and people take in these stories. So these stories can either bring in fear, can either bring in hope, can either, especially even in such a period that we are in the whole electoral period, the media will now, they're at the top of it, of what gets to us is determined by them. So, but now we're in the digital age, like he has shared. We have so many digital creators. Everyone wants to become a content creator. And somehow there's no regulation yet on who is supposed to and who is not supposed to. So we get all these kind of stories and they have all these kind of numbers. But I believe these media houses have a role they play, even in regulation. So my question would be, how has media played that role in being able to regulate the whole content creation space, especially in the line of stories?
Okay. We may have a voice, but we don't have fundamentally a way of influencing, right?
Yeah.
Because that's why we started even picking stories from them and clearing the air around the stories, because these people may have a story, may have a piece of information, but it's in how they package the information. So for us, we get it and package it. That's the first step we are doing now, to try to say a Ugandan should consume information that is accurate, that is well balanced, that is informative. So instead of them just believing in a blogger or a TikToker, let's pick the story of the TikToker, polish it very well. If we even need that TikToker to be part of the story, we would bring them on. That is our part. But mainly, the regulation cannot come from us alone, because we are also part of the field. When we start to speak, they say we are competing with the online media. Yet we have even tried to evolve to start being also part of online communities. So we can do our part, which is informing and sharing accurate information. But the main onus is on the regulators themselves, is on the system, is on the Uganda Communications Commission. What are they doing to ensure that these people are regulated? Do they even see it as a problem? Maybe it's not a problem to them yet. Maybe it's something that is okay. But I think the onus should go back on the regulators to say, what minimum standard are we setting? What kind of information do we want? And if they have that, and I think that's the biggest challenge they have, they don't have a bar to say, this is what we want. This is what we are looking like. This is what professionalism looks like on our side. All right? So everybody has their own way. And also they've been trying to target a few individuals. But I feel also the nature of targeting is subjective, right? If we are going to go for the fish, let's go for all fish. Don't go for just a certain fish from a certain affiliation, right? Look at it horizontally. And that comes from a place of being genuine about the implementation. And I think we have a challenge of genuineness in this country. So until we do an introspection to think in our hearts, am I regulating for for the betterment of society? Am I regulating because I feel I hate this individual? Or am I pushing a certain narrative? Am I supporting a certain group of people? And that is how all the regulators should be thinking among themselves. This is something you don't even ask anybody. Ask yourselves, are we really genuine about Ugandans? If you're genuine about Ugandans, when you're doing the correction, do it on all or across the aisle. That would be a better way. But for us as the media, we shall start by polishing. We've also done engagements, by the way. We've started campaigns. We have, for example, Debunk Media Initiative here, debunking false information as it comes through. So for them, they're saying, if you're saying something wrong, let me debunk it. Then we also have them training. At Next Media, they also have a fact-checking arm. They're doing fact-checking. So they're starting with, first of all, building a knowledge of that, inculcating a culture of fact-checking among Ugandans, which has not been there. But also it's a wake-up call to the creators themselves. We've had trainings for creators as well. So this shows you that we're engaging, but the main stakeholder is the man with the budget, the man with the mantle to do that job.
Thank you. To pick from Charlotte, I think Charlotte, now you're the one with the biggest numbers on TikTok and Instagram. So you have the numbers. And because of the numbers, a political organization is going to see you. And they are like, wow, this one has been really posting photos, but now let's see whether she can really deliver some messages.
Be our influencer.
Yeah. So you get some money from it. So now, how do you think you would deal with that?
Okay.
How would you package from the source to deliver it to the screens?
Okay, I think what I will do first, it is discern what the information is about, what they want me to put out there, and verify, what is it about? What am I going to influence people to get in? Or what are they, the information they are giving me, what is it basing on? Am I speaking facts? Or is it the disinformation that I'm going to put out there to my audience? I think I would look into that, which kind of information am I giving out there? Yeah.
Interesting. I would like to also hear from you what you would like to know about this information ecosystem from your perspective.
And also someone has brought you $1 million and they say, hey, push this agenda. How do you deal with that? You leave the $1 million, maybe inaccurate, but the $1 million can.
Yeah, I've been, but it whatever's which information are you going to give? They may offer you $1 billion, but you're going to put somebody's life in danger. You're gonna give the information that is not right there. Yeah. Okay. So you have to put money aside and think about the consequence of it. But if it's good, if the information is valid and it's true and the $1 billion is there, why don't I take it?
It's that money.
Yeah, it's that money.
Yeah, so I would like you to, any thoughts or questions that you have been having in regards to how information comes from the source to the screens. We have the big man here to,
Yeah, actually, my question will come from the disinformation. Recently, was it last week, part 1, there was some news that was going all over by 8th or 7th that the internet is gonna go off because of the elections. And how do citizens verify like the right information or the accuracy of information that they come across on social media and other online platforms? Like how do you get to know that this person is giving the right information or this is not? Like, because the majority of the Gen Zs like don't actually, I don't remember the time I checked on NBS or NTV like to watch
They are
news.
just really so
Yeah.
focused on the
Yeah.
TikTok
On the
or any
TikToks
other
and
app.
so on.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
We don't care who said.
No, I know. Very sad that you people don't watch our TVs. That's why we've decided to come to the social media these days and we're streaming, but also there's enough from mobile. But how do you do the fact checking? Let me start with the case that you brought up. The internet will be switched off. First of all, you cannot fact check that, right? So you cannot know until the time has come. And behold, the time is here. Let's wait and see if it will be switched on or it will be switched off. We'll wait and see.
Some are actually saying that there will be war
Whoa.
after the election.
That one we cannot, but I don't think that Uganda can go back to war. But that one will be a conversation for next time we enter the politics. But that cannot happen yet. What do you do? It depends on the kind of information you have got. If you've come across an image that you think is false, the first step of fact checking is you to first of all have a cognitive idea of saying this may be accurate or this may be true. We have a problem in Uganda that people blindly believe everything you say. That's the biggest challenge here. People believe. So some people just have a lot of faith. Let me just use that word. So if you come across an image, the first step is understanding where this image came from. Which is the source? Is the source credible? So if it's you've heard that it's like a news story, do you want to check who published it first? Is it a journalist? Is it a certified organization, media organization? Is it a reputable individual who has credibility? Or is it someone who has interest? Is it someone who's looking for likes? Is it someone who's just joking around? So understand where the source of information comes from. Then after that, start to define this information. So do you want to research? If they're talking about, for example, a middle income status of a country, use Uganda, go back and understand what a middle income status means. If you have understood the context and everything, yes, then that's when you start doing your research. Please ask experts. It's very important that you check like media houses, you check, for example, news tabloids, you check journalists. You can even call. That's when you call someone from the newsroom. You I don't know, we have these days tools, apps that can connect us. You ask someone who is credible at that information. If it's a health information that you've, if, for example, it's a disease, it's a curative method, ask a doctor. It does not hurt. If it's about the law, ask a lawyer. If it's a breaking story, ask a journalist. Just ask someone the information, where they got it from, or what you should know about this information. If you don't have that, then after that, you can use tools, by the way. If you have found, for example, an image that is inaccurate or you think is inaccurate, you ask photo forensics. There is a tool called photo forensics. It will show you inconsistencies in the image. If you want to know the direction, for example, it's an image, you want to know what time it was taken, you can use a tool called SunCalc. If it's a street, you want to understand where this street is from, you can use Google Street, you can use Mapillary. There are different tools that you can use that will make you conclusively go to that piece of information, understand the inconsistencies in that image, video or something. If all that fails, you don't have, for example, the tools, you don't have internet, use your cognitive ideas. You've come across a video. First, listen to the language that is being spoken in that video. If they are seeing people with from security forces, what uniforms are they wearing? Because if you know UPDF wears a different uniform, SFC wears a different uniform, in the police wears a different uniform. Even in the police itself, there are different regiments that wear different uniforms, different groups there. Ask yourself, this uniform, who wears it? If it's a gun, because now we're looking at violence, right? different guns of different regiments are all like different. So the SFC has different guns from the normal infantry, from the mechanical brigade. They all have different ammunitions. Then still on looking at the contextual clues, what landmarks are you seeing there? They're saying this video is from Kampala, but when you look at it, when you look at the signpost inside that video, it has +254. It has Kimathi Avenue, right? If in the background of that video there is Kimathi Avenue, that means it's not Kampala. Where is Kimathi Avenue found? It's found in Nairobi. So these things you don't even need to have sources or a lot of things. You just use your cognitive abilities. Then if all refuses, there is no internet, there is nothing, call people directly. Call a person you know that has credible information. Call a journalist directly, listening from them. But one thing, which is the fundamental of all things, is you cognitively asking yourself, this could be true or this is not true. Is this true or it's not true? When you ask yourself that question, that's the first step of
it will lead you to other
information.
things. I hope you have been able to learn something. And as we conclude, Hannah, you could,
Yes. As we conclude, realize media houses are regulated. And especially in this electoral period, again, what we put out there is very important. So do you think the media regulations on board hinder or support fair and free election information?
In this case, I think the media regulations are needed, generally.
So they are not as strong?
No, they
Currently.
should. They are strong, by the way. It always just depends on your luck in this country. But the regulations will always be there, and they are needed. That I want us to look at it. It's not a problem to have rules or regulations. They are needed at a time like this, and that is what makes us professional. Because if you didn't have a speed governor, you would go the blogger style, right?
Yeah.
But right now, this is I have a cost to pay. I have a reputation to maintain. I have a media house. I have credibility to stand off. Because as a journalist, if you don't have credibility, you are nothing. So the regulations bring that credibility. And it will always just remain on the subjectiveness. You see, rules, laws are always there in place. They're always beautiful. But it's always about the implementers. If the implementer does not want to implement, the laws become useless, right? The constitution will become useless. The constitution only gets power when it's implemented. So it's in how you implement. If you don't implement it subjectively, which is one of the biggest challenges we have, then it becomes very, very good.
Interesting. I hope those who are viewing us, you have been able to learn a lot from this conversation on how information comes from the source to the screens. A lot has been shared, and I would like us to end it from here, and we catch up in another episode. Thank you.